Hey, you did it. You found it. You found the podcast version of the show. It's Writer Radio. Here are the things you need to know. We stream live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at writerradio.com. 2, you can find every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/@writerradio. We're on Spotify, same name, Writer Radio. We are on Twitter or X @BradWriter, BradRiter. We're on Instagram @Writer Radio. There's a group now, Writer Radio Facebook group. Go there, find that, follow that, like it, whatever you have to do. We've got a phone number. You can send texts, leave voicemail, 716-288-5246. Email, bradwriter@gmail.com. You don't need to memorize this. It can all be found at writerradio.com. That's the hub. But those are the places. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. Please share. That's how we grow. Glad to have you on board to the podcast version of Writer Radio. Oh. Episode 189 of Writer Radio is now. Streaming live at writerradio.com, on YouTube, on Spotify. I ask that you subscribe. It's cool that you come and check out the show live every day. Anytime you tune in, that's a win. That makes me happy. But the other thing that would make me really happy is if you subscribe on both YouTube and Spotify, or really anywhere, but those are kind of the primary things where I'm trying to get the subscriber numbers up, because things get distributed from there. So every show we do live, it happens live on YouTube. It happens live at mixlr.com, mixlr.com, through writerradio.com. You can get it there. But then once the show's over, it gets edited down in podcast form and goes to both YouTube and Spotify. Spotify sends it everywhere else too. Apple, and I don't know where you're listening, but hit the subscribe button when you're there, and that helps. That helps the whole thing build. All right, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It is Thursday. We've got the live show here for 2 hours, and then I'll drink a little bit of water, and then I'll record a UB football podcast with Scott Wilson. We've got an exciting development in the UB world, and it is that they now have a rivalry game. UMass is in the conference now, and they're starting something this week called the Flagship Cup, with both schools, both UB and UMass, being flagship universities of their state. They define themselves as such. They both play in Amherst, one New York, one Massachusetts, so it's a good fit. And I don't know if there's a trophy in place yet, but there's a rivalry thing that they're starting right now. There's an announcement. We have like a special read. It's brought to you by Milton Cat. We'll have an interview with the Milton Cat guy during the game. And what I tend to do before a UB road game, which has been a while, man. They haven't played on the road since week 3. And that was at Kent State. That was when I ate all the donuts. The last time UB had a road game was when I ate, I don't even remember how many I finished. 8, maybe? I ate 8 donuts in 8 minutes. Something like that. I ate a bunch of Krispy Kreme donuts in a van. That barely even counts as a road trip. There was no plane. There was no hotel. I mean, there was for the team, but we went down the day of the game. Left at like 6 in the morning and drove to Kent, Ohio. Went to the game. Turned around, came back. So while those are nice, they're like a simpler version of the road trip. I like road trips. I like hanging with the boys, with Scott, with Paul, with John, with whoever else happens to be on any given trip. And this is going to be a larger one where there are, we can always tell when there's extras because we normally have 4 buses. And this time we've got 5 buses. So that means donors are on the trip. There'll be a little extra, crowd coming with us. There's some kind of a UB Alumni Association tailgate party that's going on. And also, UMass is 0-6 and just got stomped by Kent State, who we were just blatantly calling the 134th best team in the country, Kent. And then they ended up being better than that, for sure. Because while the Bulls didn't play great in that matchup with Kent, Kent did some things that I liked. They were more impressive. Like, I really wanted to see what was going to happen between Kent and UMass. And Kent stomped UMass this past weekend. So, for the 3rd time this year, the Bulls will head into a MAC game where I think we're going to feel pretty confident about their ability to come out with a win, but we're going to have to see it. And now it's the Flagship Cup, which is exciting. One of the things that I do as we get closer to a trip, and we're leaving tomorrow, there is time for the show. I have to be at the airport at 1. So the show will go on tomorrow morning, and then I'll wrap it up at noon and head to the airport and then fly to, I thought to Massachusetts, but we're flying to Hartford, which is fine. I don't care. I don't have to fly the plane. I don't have to drive the buses. I don't mind just sitting in a bus riding for an hour. It's cool. But it appears we're flying to Hartford. We're staying in Hartford. And then we're driving like an hour to get to the game the next day. That's never great. But it is good for tomorrow because that frees us up. We'll be in Hartford at like 4:30. So on a day like that, I look things up. Like, well, who's performing in Hartford? There was no part of me that thought I was going to be in Hartford this weekend until a couple days ago. And I looked at the email and went, oh, Hartford. I knew Amherst. And I figured, hey, Boston, if necessary. I mean, it's like a 2-hour drive. But if there's, if we could have gone to a playoff baseball game or something, we would have found a way to get to Boston. That will not happen in Hartford, Connecticut, because Hartford didn't make the MLB playoffs this year because they don't have a team. But I look at concerts, I look at bands, I look at comedians, that kind of stuff. Sebastian Bach, the former lead singer of Skid Row, is performing. I have not brought this up to anyone on in our travel party. And I'm not even necessarily saying that I want to go, but I kind of want to go. I've never seen him live. He screams really well. He's an impressive dude. It's Sebastian Bach, and I looked up his most recent set list. He played 15 songs. I knew 11 of them. So it's not like he's just hitting you over the head, hitting the crowd over the head with, like, here's some new stuff off my new album that you never even considered purchasing. He's not doing much of that. I think it was 15 songs, 11 of which I knew. 4 were, newer, I guess. Or just hidden tracks that I'm not aware of, or solo stuff. I don't know. But it's a Skid Row show. Who were, I don't know. If you just laugh, if you're like my wife, who's a little younger than me and therefore just laughs at everything hair metal, she doesn't get it, man. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know. If you're her or someone like her and you just lump all these hair metal things together, you might not have a ton of appreciation for Sebastian Bach. But I do. I think Slave to the Grind was an amazing second album. First one was all right. The first Skid Row album was okay. Slave to the Grind was incredible. And the vast majority of the songs are from those 2 albums. So, pretty cool. The majority of the songs that he plays. Opening the show, however, there are 2 other acts. One of whom is one of the worst bands I've ever seen live, and that was Slaughter. Remember a band called Slaughter, led by Mark Slaughter, who sucks? Well, Slaughter they opened for Poison in I don't know what it would have been, 89, let's say. What was that album called? Not Look What the Cat Dragged In, the next one. The one with Nothing But a Good Time and Fallen Angel. And it's slipping my mind for some reason. The next one was called Flesh and Blood. My God, what is their biggest album called? It's not called Nothing But a Good Time. I have to look this up. This is embarrassing. This is about Poison. They're not playing at the thing. It's Sebastian Bach headlining with opening acts Slaughter, who were terrible when they were good, and Quiet Riot, whose singer is dead. So, part of me thinks this is quite the night. But then part of me is like, it's Sebastian Bach without the real band. And then it's Slaughter, who's terrible. And then it's Quiet Riot without Kevin DuBrow. Because he's dead. So I don't think I'm going to have a real easy time convincing people that this is a good idea. Paul might be the closest. Scott will laugh at me. I expect to have a text message laughing at me from Scott within the next 5 minutes. Or a message in the chat or something from Scott. Making fun of my interest in hair metal that still exists to this day. I don't spend a lot of time listening to Skid Row at my house. But if you're in Hartford and Sebastian Bach is in Hartford, shouldn't you go see Sebastian Bach if you're me? I feel like kind of yes. Well, I'm not going to ditch the crowd, and I'm not going to try to con anyone into it. Someone would have to think they're going to like it. I know that I would like it, but I don't know that anybody else would like it. John's a little cooler than I am. John's a couple years older than me, but I don't think he has some of the same embarrassing, musical skeletons in his closet that I do. I mean, this would be me seeing Sebastian Bach for the first time, and that's like somebody I've wanted to see since 1989 or 88. What's the name of the Poison album? Poison albums. I'm going to be kicking myself here. Open up and say, big, long, stupid tongue on the cover that was eventually censored with black bars. So open up and say, it's that 1988 album. So it was probably a 1989 tour. Slaughter opened for Poison. Poison was great. I've seen Poison a bunch of times, and I can understand if you had no respect for that band. I get it. But they're fine. They're fun. They're just a rock band. The way that hair metal was everything for a while. Like, that's what you saw at arenas. That's what bands played. That's what the popular music of the day was. It was men in makeup and tight pants and big hair and flashy guitars and shredding and all. And that's just what it was. Kind of in the same way that the only real live pop music now that has instruments involved in it is country. Like, what this sort of bro country, rock country thing is to live music, that's what hair metal was then. So, if you'll go see, I'll use Eric Church as an example because our good friend Ray, the great Ray Walter, just went to Detroit, I think, Detroit to see Eric Church. And Eric Church plays, I don't know his music. I know he's got a song called Springsteen. I know that my friend Jake loves him. Jake went to. And he seems respectable. I've got no positive or negative on him. Just friends that I like him. So I think he's probably fine. But that's what you see now. If it was 1989 and you were going to see popular music with guitars in it, you would see Poison. And now you would see Eric Church, or you would see Chris Stapleton, or you would see I don't know. I'm going to script the names, but that's what the music. That's what you get now. And, there are options. You go to different clubs and whatever. But as far as arena rock shows, it used to be hair metal bands when I was growing up, and now it's country-ish, country-tinged anyway, rock music that is the popular thing to see in an arena or a stadium. So just don't make fun of me for thinking, hey, it might not be a bad idea to go see Sebastian Bach performing live in Hartford. Just because I'm going to be in Hartford. I wouldn't travel to Hartford to see Sebastian Bach, but I'm going to be in Hartford, and so is he. And that seems kind of fun. I'm not going to be able to convince anybody of this. This is all for naught. This is just me saying out loud that if it was up to me, if I ran the trip, we'd be taking Mark Allnut to see Sebastian Bach, formerly of Skid Row, and Slaughter, who stinks, and Quiet Riot, who doesn't have their singer because he's dead. And I would take Mark Allnut to that. He would laugh at me. He wants nothing to do with it. Nobody's going to go. We're not going to go. But this is what came up last night. I was like, oh, Hartford. Wonder what's going on in Hartford. That's what's going on in Hartford. All right. It's Writer Radio. I'm Brad. We're going up until noon today. You can always participate. We've got a chat going in both the YouTube stream and the Mixlr stream. I should open that up because I haven't looked at that in a day or two. Oh, there it is. $9 Sabres tickets. This is yesterday. Oh, okay. So last night, what did we have? Oh, baseball. That's right. We had a baseball meeting / practice, but really it was just a photo shoot. It turned out awesome. A bunch of 8 and 9-year-old kids dressed in their full baseball uniforms, but with masks. And I didn't understand what we were going for. I was wondering, how are they going to play baseball with masks? The whole point was like content creation. This is how Little League coaches and wives and whatever are thinking now. It was awesome. We went to the Diamond. It seemed weird to say, show up in your baseball stuff, but with a mask. And most of the masks were like scary masks. Drew, my son, had a fish stick, which is a character from Fortnite, just this big round head with giant eyes. So he was that. It was like a bunch of werewolves and ghosts and skeletons and a fish, like a fish head. Drew's the fish head. But they got all these great pictures and made this ridiculously cool movie, like little YouTube short type of thing for Facebook. So I guess it wouldn't be a YouTube short. It would be a Facebook short or whatever it is. I don't know. But I had no idea how good little kids in baseball uniforms with Halloween masks on would look in a Facebook video. But it turned out awesome. So we did that. And then we got home from that. And we hadn't really eaten because baseball just, got in the way. It was too early to eat before. Then we get back. We had a little bit like snacky type of stuff. And I decided I needed to order food because it was, 8:15 and I'm hungry. So I ordered food and I had to drive, 8 minutes each way. And I came home and I told my wife, there's something wrong with my, with the stereo in my car. And we're going to have to do something about it. And she said, what's wrong with the stereo in your car? And I said, well, first thing is, it told me the Sabres were winning 3-2. Now, the Sabres have scored twice. Prior to yesterday, the Sabres had scored twice in 3 games. They lost 4-0. They lost 3-1. They lost 3-1. I got in the car and heard that they were up 3-2. So immediately I wanted to contact Dodge. Like, there's something wrong with the radio in the 2021 Ram or whatever I drive. I think it's a 21. Doesn't matter. Or something has happened to Dan Dunleavy and he's possessed and he's just lying to people. Like, I don't know if it was a technical. I just knew it wasn't right because he said the Sabres were up. And then he continued as I was driving. Then he said they scored again. That made it 4-3. No, 4-2. Then within minutes, the same guy scored again, or at least that's what Dunleavy claimed. I didn't see it. I only heard it on the radio. So I would just like to launch an investigation to see if that really happened. I'd never tried turning it on TV. I didn't see any highlights. I just know that by the time the night was over, the Sabres had scored 8 times. And I feel like somebody's lying to me. Or everything's fine now, and here we go. I mean, I kind of felt the same hearing about the Sabres game as I did watching the Blue Jays game. It's like, guys, slow down. Save something for your next game. Don't score 13 runs today and nothing next time. I mean, they're just mashing the ball. So the Blue Jays keep themselves in the series by winning on the road. Every game so far of the NLCS and the ALCS has been won by the road team, which is kind of crazy. We're 5 games in, and it's all road wins. So there's that. But I couldn't believe the Sabres. And it was, where's that box score? Do I have the box score? Because it was some guys I heard of, some guys I never heard of. It feels like this should be like the headline on SportsCenter, not James Franklin being fired, but the Sabres scored 8 times. It's something to improve to 1-3. Box score. Here we go. Let's see who scored. It was a combination of people I know and don't. All right. First period, Jack Quinn, power play. Second period, Ryan McLeod, shorthanded. Alex Tuck, even strength. All right, so that's when I got in the car. I got in the car about halfway through the period because it was 3-2 at that point. 1-0, 1-1, 2-1 Ottawa, 2-2, 3-2 Buffalo. That's when I get in the car. Then Jason Zucker scores on the power play. And then less than 2 minutes later, Jason Zucker scores again on the power play. He's got 3 goals. And I have learned that the Sabres have a player named Jason Zucker. Then Ryan McLeod scored again. Then Jack Quinn scored again. Then Yuri Kulich scored an empty netter to make it 8-4. So 2 from Quinn, 2 from McLeod, 2 from Zucker, 1 each from Tuck and Kulak. And that's it, 8-4, the final score in that game for the Sabres, who are now tied for second last with the Senators, who they beat. Because they've got 2 points in 4 games. Not great overall, but great to see them come alive. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to like this team. I'm trying to watch it. I'm trying to care. But they've got to mix in some 8s every now and then to make sure that the next time they play, I remember to try. I'm trying. I want to try. I want to support Lindy Ruff. I want this team to win. I want this team to be good. I want my 13-year-old son to hear the goal horn for the first time in his life. We don't go a lot, but he's been to a handful of games. And the only time he's ever heard the goal horn, we were on our way out because we left early because they were down 4-0 or something with 5 minutes left. And we were on the escalator on the way out of the building when they did score. So he's heard it, but he hasn't been in the bowl to hear it. I think that still doesn't count. And I would still consider him to be seeking his first NHL goal. Again, we go once or twice a year totally. You know, he's probably been to 6 games, 5 games even. But that's a lot of games to have never heard a goal horn. Maybe this year. Maybe it'll happen. But they got to give me some more of these 8s mixed in so that I feel good. So that I feel good about like spending my time there. But I will say, they score 8 goals. I thought of you people, not me, but the people who have been for the last 14 years talking about the Sabres like they're still a team in the league, talking about the Sabres like it's still something that we should be concerned with as sports fans in Western New York, because it just has not been on the radar for me at all. Because they lost their will to play hockey right around the same time that I had kids. And things got a little busier. And by a little busier, I mean crazy busy. 3 kids, a lot of kids. They do a lot of stuff. And tying up 2.5 hours 3 times a week to watch a team score twice total. It just hasn't worked out real well for me since about 2012. But I want to care. Like, right now, I don't need the Sabres because of baseball playoffs. We have evolved into a psycho baseball household, which is great. No matter who's on, we're in. So that's like family room television every night during the playoffs. If the Bills aren't playing, has been playoff baseball, which is great. Can't say enough good things about having an entire family locked in. Zach's not. The oldest doesn't care at all. But the other 2 are in. My wife is in, and that means I'm in. So baseball's been great. But once baseball's done, I would like the Sabres to be around, to be a part of the conversation at least. I want to be in last place. They're eliminated. It's December. You can't do that. How do you go to a game in February when you know they're 26 games out of first? 18 points out of a playoff spot with no sign of turning things around ever. I'm proud of those of you who have been able to do it. But there's a part of me that wants to tell you don't have to do it. You don't have to. You don't have to waste your life watching a team that doesn't give anything back to you. And they tend to not give back very often. But they did last night, and it made me very happy to see that it was a home game. Because if they're going to go out on the road and score 8 goals and then come back and score nothing in front of the people that pay all this money to go see them, I feel bad for you guys. But I felt happy for you yesterday. So good for you. Good for the Sabres. 8 goals. Yay. Buffalo. All right. This is one of those days where I've got 30 things open on the screen, so I'm just going to work left to right and see what we get to and what we don't. Why is John Wayne Gacy always on TV? So I'm in a Google News entertainment thing here, and it's talking about things that are coming up. And it's like Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy review, Peacock's thoughtful limited series. So a thoughtful limited series about serial killer John Wayne Gacy. I just watched like a 3-part documentary on John Wayne Gacy. I'm not saying we need new serial killers, but it's like the same 4 people are the subject of everything. There's a new thing coming out about the Murdaugh murders. There's already a thing about that. And I guess it's a product of multiple streaming platforms, and they're all trying to compete with one another. But this serial killer thing has really gotten out of hand. Remember when, like, Deep Impact and Event Horizon, I think it was, came out at the same time, and Volcano came out at the same time as a different Volcano movie? Remember there were 2 Volcano movies, and there were 2, like, we were doing that for a while. And we've been doing that a lot lately. Because, did you see the new John Wayne Gacy thing? Yeah, no, I watched that last week. No, the new one. Like, what do you mean the new one? Why is there always a new one? More Gacy. I'll watch it. I think I'll watch it. Is Devil in Disguise actually good, or did I just watch Monster? See, that's what I'm saying. Vulture's asking that question. A million of these same exact things keep coming out. And it's like, it happened with OJ. Not a serial killer, just he dabbled in it. Allegedly. But it was like, did you see OJ Made in America? Like, is that the one where he's actually in it, or is that the one with the actors and like they were out at the same time? I don't know what I've seen and what I haven't seen, and now we're doing it again. We're doing it again with John Wayne Gacy. Spoilers follow for the Netflix series Monster. Oh, that thing. The Gein story or Geen. Don't watch that one. I started watching that one. I'm telling you not to watch that one. Don't watch that one. I mean, you can if you want. I don't like that one. I didn't like that one at all. I quit on it. I think I've talked about this already this week. All right. What's this one? Why this 90s high school punk band is suddenly bigger than ever. Everyone asked about you broke up and went about their lives. Nearly 3 decades later, they're touring the U.S. thanks to some Japanese fans unearthing their old teenage music. I've never heard of this band. Everyone asked about you? I'm not going to read the story. I clicked. I fell for it. I fell for the clickbait of this 90s high school punk band. I was like, I wonder what 90s high school punk band it is. And then it's a band I never heard of, and I'm closing it before I read the whole story, because I'm just not doing that. What's the next? My computer stinks. It's very slow, and it's not responding as I'm trying to click on my next story. I've got a lot of them here. Whitney Cummings says Riyadh Comedy Festival backlash is just racism. Claims stand-up comics who've worked with Live Nation have, quote, taken Saudi money. All right, I'll listen to this. Whitney Cummings is the latest comedian to defend performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, which sparked widespread backlash in the comedy industry for its ties to the Saudi government. Speaking on her podcast, Cummings labeled a backlash against the comedians who attended the event as racism, and made a larger claim that most comedians are already accepting money from Saudi Arabia simply by working with Live Nation for their stand-up tours. She said, I guess I'm this weirdo. I don't operate under, the idea that every government and their people are the same. You think that the people of Saudi Arabia and the Saudi government all share the same values? So you also believe that the Chinese government and the Chinese people are all exactly the same? It's just racism. Huh? I think it took me a second, because when people are going like, you're doing something unethical, I'm like, oh, these must be ethical people. Let me listen. And then you're like, oh no, you're just racist. These are also the same people who would go, Trump is not my president. I am nothing like our president. But other countries are? That's the whole article. No, it's not. When you get a second, Google Saudi Arabia Live Nation so you can be informed on the fact that anyone who has worked with Live Nation, every stand-up comic, has taken Saudi money. She later claimed, Google that just so you know what you're talking about. Or bought a ticket through Live Nation, went to a Live Nation event. All the actors who are represented by William Morris Agency, which is all of them. If you want to send them notes too. If you want to, send them notes too. Cummings is referring to the Public Investment Fund, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. Why can't I speak today? Which purchased a large stake in Live Nation in 2020. Public Investment disclosed at the time it owned a 5.7% stake in Live Nation. or a total of 12.3 million shares valued at approximately $500 million. Last November, the fund sold its stake in Live Nation. Variety has reached out to Live Nation for comment. Cummings was one of many high-profile comedians who traveled to Saudi Arabia for the festival, which took place September 26th to October 9th. Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Kevin Hart, Pete Davidson, Andrew Schultz, and more also performed. The talent at the festival was widely criticized on social media by the likes of Mark Maron, David Cross, Zach Woods, and other comedians. Cross specifically called out Bill Burr in his response, condemning the festival, adding, "I am disgusted and deeply disappointed in this whole gross thing." Bill said bad words. Bill Burr defended attending the event in several interviews, recently saying on the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast, "I don't give a crap what all these phony crapping people are saying. It was necessary. It felt right afterward. I vibed with the audience of Saudi Arabia, and they were funny. They were funny people. I don't know what to tell you. I had a good time." Aziz Ansari said earlier this month he planned to donate part of the fee he made from performing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival to, quote, causes that support free press and human rights, listing Reporters Without Borders and Human Rights Watch, two groups that were critical of the comedy festival and the Saudi regime. A spokesperson for Human Rights Watch later told Variety the organization, quote, cannot accept donations from Ansari and other comedians. Now, why would that be? That doesn't make any sense. Louis C.K. was on Real Time with Bill Maher after performing in Riyadh. He said attending the event felt like a good opportunity. I just feel like comedy is a great way to get in and start talking. Listening to some of these comics talk about it afterward, like initially it sounded gross. Like, oh, Saudi Arabia's government is going to pay for all these comedians to come over and tell jokes, and it'll be fun. And the rule was they couldn't make fun of the Saudi government. I think that was it. And they're like, okay, cool. And I heard somebody, I don't know, it was Louis C.K. or Bill Burr, somebody was like, well, that's perfect. None of my material has anything to do with the Saudi government. I don't tell jokes. I don't tell jokes about the Saudi government, so it'll be fine. And it kind of made sense to me. I also started picturing in the late 80s when Metallica played in the Soviet Union, and there were the helicopters. It's very famous. It's a very famous show in Moscow where it just looks, it's very intimidating. It's very scary. Like, it looks like, I don't even know how to describe it. You'd have to see. There's a video, VHS thing that was out back then called a year and a half in the life of Metallica, and it was following their massive tour on the Black Album. So that was 91. I might have the years screwed up, but the point remains the same. James Hetfield performing Harvester of Sorrow in Moscow is one of the freakiest things. But what happened real soon thereafter is the Soviet Union fell apart. It was in part, at least it feels in part, like it had to do with American culture finding its way into the Soviet Union and kind of breaking it up. And it felt like that. There's a whole podcast called Wind of Change, trying to figure out whether or not the CIA wrote the song Wind of Change that was performed by Scorpions that ended up being a big piece in like the fall of the Soviet Union. And I don't know, it kind of feels like that. Like, all right, you're the Saudi government. You're going to have Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle come over? Okay. You're going to let them talk? As long as they don't badmouth the Saudi government, which they're not going to do because they don't, I don't know. And then to hear other comedians talk about, like, I couldn't believe the money being thrown at some of them. That, like, not even, I heard an interview with somebody who I didn't even know. Like, it was a comedian, I'd never heard of her. I don't even know what her name is now, but I was listening to an interview about the money she was offered there, and she's like, it's like 10 times what I get for a regular show. It was, she normally gets 40 grand, and she was getting 400 grand, something like that. She's like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not go? No, I'm going to go for a week. I'm going to make $400,000, then I'm going to come back. And it doesn't really matter if people criticize me. I've been offered this gig. I'm taking the gig. So while it did seem gross and weird at the start, listening to people talk about it, I've come around on it. It's a tremendous opportunity to make a ton of money in a short period of time and then go home. And there was somebody who was talking about being frightened. It might have been the same woman. She was frightened about going. I get that too. Like anyone who chose not to go, that's fine. And anyone who chose to go, that's fine. I think. I don't know. That's just the way it feels to me. So I've been reading different stories about this festival every day for a month. And it's only come up a couple times. But every now and then, I don't know, worthy of discussion. All right. I'm going to click this. I don't want my mom to listen. But I'm going to click on this link. It's at TMZ Sports. We trust TMZ. The reason I have TMZ open is there's an article that says Jason Kelce slams fake Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime quote. Kelce, viral Bad Bunny quote, wasn't me. I believe him. It's Jason Kelce, the one we like. But then at the top of that page is another link about our man Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. And it says, porn site offering butt plug giveaway at ALCS as Cal Raleigh tribute. I'm going to open that story. I mean, it is fun. We got a guy hitting 60 home runs known as the big dumper. Mariners Cal Raleigh porn site offering fans butt plugs. It's not his site. ALCS giveaway in honor of big dumper. Mariners fans could have a whole new way to show support for Cal Raleigh soon. As a porn site tells TMZ, it's aiming to give away butt plugs to Seattle fans at Wednesday's ALCS Game 3 in honor of the star catcher. A spokesperson for Cam Soda says as Raleigh and his famous nickname, the Big Dumper, keep shining in the postseason, he wants to capitalize on the craze by doling out sex toys ahead of the M's huge tilt with the Jays, excuse me. The site says if Seattle officials allow it, that could be a hang-up. It's looking to pass around thousands of Cam Soda-branded butt plugs at T-Mobile Park just before the first pitch. It's our way of giving fans a playful keepsake to commemorate your legendary swing and, let's be honest, your equally legendary nickname. If the team's open to having some fun with it, we'd love to make the big dumper giveaway happen and spread a little cheeky joy throughout the stands. Let us know, and we'll get everything and everyone ready to go. There are already big dumper butt plug shirts, as can be seen directly behind home plate in a game last week or earlier this week. This would not be the first time a butt plug has made an appearance at one of Raleigh's games. On Sunday, during Game 1 of the ALCS in Toronto, a Jays fan rocked a shirt with an image of a sex toy on it in an effort to troll Raleigh. It didn't work. He had a home run in the game. That's what he does. This story's a couple days old, so it says the Mariners are now up 2-0 in the series. They're not. They're up 2-1 because the Jays absolutely annihilated them yesterday in Seattle. So I don't know if this happened. Probably didn't. The giveaway. But interesting. All right, the Bad Bunny thing. Jason Kelce is speaking out after a fake quote about Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime gig made rounds on social media, letting everyone know not a damn word came from his mouth or fingers. The statement spread like wildfire over the weekend, with a random account claiming the Eagles legend took a shot at the folks voicing displeasure over booking the Puerto Rican musician for the big game. The bogus quote stated Kelce had said, if Bad Bunny is a bad fit for the Super Bowl, then maybe the people making these comments are a bad fit for America's future. Ooh. Kelce got a ton of praise over the stands, but he took to his X account Tuesday to set the record straight that he had never said it. Said, I normally don't comment on things like this, but I feel the need to address that there are a number of accounts posting fake quotes and attributing them to me on this platform right now. I appreciate X putting community notes on several, and I will not address the other accounts specifically because I don't want to amplify their engagement, but please know, unless you hear something directly from me via one of my platforms, it's not real. He didn't specify what fake quotes he's referring to, but it's clear what he's talking about. As for how Kelce really feels about the decision, we've yet to hear from Travis's bro himself. Yeah, okay. Who cares? Who cares how Jason Kelsey feels about who's performing at the halftime show? I mean, we can't just make up quotes and attribute them to people. We shouldn't. We shouldn't do that. That's bad. But it's also 2025, and it's impossible to stop that from happening. So, hey, I remember when Twitter first became a thing. And I was on WEC at the time. And it was first becoming obvious that, for example, like Terrell Owens wasn't going to need to go through his agent or a team representative. If he wanted to speak, he could just speak. And that's no good. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with it, but there was danger inherent in allowing people to just put their thoughts out into the public. And I remember thinking it and talking about it. In fact, I remember there was a show, and Ben Turnbull, who comes on the show every now and then as like our rugby correspondent, he was in town. Ben lives in like Albany, Saratoga area. And he was in town, and he came in, and Ray might have been there too. But I specifically remember Ben saying, because we were used to Facebook at the time, and Twitter was becoming prominent, prevalent. I don't know which of those is better, but it was gaining steam. And I remember Ben saying something along the lines of, isn't Twitter, it sounds like it's just the worst part of Facebook, which is people like posting updates about their food. Like, isn't this just that? Isn't Twitter just like the worst part of Facebook? And I'm like, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that if we're not going to have filters on people, athletes are going to get themselves in trouble. And it turns out it wasn't athletes, it's everyone in the world having the ability to voice an opinion and amplify it just because it's salacious or funny or well written, like you laugh at it. It's like viral. We didn't know what viral was yet. We knew like what an actual virus was, but as far as like what can happen to anything that is written or said by anyone, it was going to be bad news. And now that's what we're talking about here. We all know who Jason Kelsey is, right? We didn't used to all know former offensive linemen, even if they won the Super Bowl. Like, old linemen were not personalities, but everybody is a personality now. And there's no way to undo this. There's no way to fix it. If the internet gets something wrong and it spreads like wildfire, it's just wrong and it goes everywhere. And the correction is never going to be as loud as the initial explosive thing that was theoretically said. All right. Here's an article. Everything wrong with the Buffalo Bills and why heads need to roll. Now, again, you would think there was a time when I would say, oh, it's from the sportingnews.com. That means it's fine. But more and more, I'm seeing things from Sporting News, from Sports Illustrated, from previously trusted sources of actual information that are clearly written either by children or bots. Because the Bills are 4-2 and heads need to roll. I will say I haven't commented yet. The Bills are 0-1 when Sean McDermott wears his wife's glasses. I don't think he should have worn those on the field. And it did not help against Atlanta. So that was a problem. I'm going to take a break, and then I want to explore this everything wrong with the Buffalo Bills, and why heads need to roll, theoretically written by someone named Jarrett Bailey. Sounds like a fake name. Can I click on that? Can I see a picture of this person? No, definitely not. All right, we're going to take a little bit of time out here and then return. I've got something I need to do for a couple minutes, and then we'll be back with you. Take taking you right up until noon. It's Writer Radio. It's episode 189. Thank you for listening. Thank you also for subscribing. That's the big move. Subscribe. Thank you. Stick around. I'll be right back. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com. Writer Radio, episode 189. Hello. Taking you up until noon today, and there will be a full show tomorrow, despite the fact that it is a travel day for me for UB football. I don't have to be at the airport till 1, so we can effectively do the show and then get on a plane and go to Hartford and eventually to Amherst, Massachusetts for a 2:30 kickoff, which will take place at McGurk Stadium in Amherst, Massachusetts. And it is the inaugural playing of the Flagship Cup, a rivalry game that has been established between UB and UMass. They're going to play each other every year now. And we've never had, we came so close. We came so close to having a rivalry trophy with Temple way back when. It was going to be the Penny Trophy, Pennsylvania, New York, Penny, get it? And I believe that trophy still lives in John Fuller's office at UB. Because they got the trophy made, and then Temple left the conference. So it just never happened. It was a natural fit for a rivalry game because we're kind of the outcasts. A conference that is primarily based in Michigan and Ohio, especially with the departure of Northern Illinois now. So it's multiple teams in Michigan, multiple teams in Ohio. Ball State is in Indiana. Buffalo, obviously, in New York. UMass in Massachusetts. So we're kind of the outcasts. I don't want to ride. We did a rivalry thing with Ball State briefly. The old wooden mustache. Remember that? Remember the storied mustache rivalry thing that we invented? That was fun. Didn't really take. The team didn't really get involved. The schools didn't really get involved. It was just kind of a fun radio broadcast thing that we did. Tim Roberts liked it. Former Bull safety, now an Academy Award-winning actor. Or no, Emmy Award-winning. Or he's just on a thing called All the King's Men. That's essentially pornography. But he was cool. I liked him. I liked Tim Roberts. And he embraced the wooden mustache more than the rest. He was in. He loved it. There's a mustache ride joke that belongs here that I'm not doing. So I'm classier than that. It's true. All right, we're going back to the stuff on my screen. I've got 20 things still open and 50 minutes left of radio. Not in my life, just from today. Man charged after burglaries of 4 Buffalo eateries, supermarkets. This is from yesterday afternoon. A Buffalo man was charged with 5 counts of third-degree burglary after 4 restaurants and supermarkets were broken into late last month. So 5 counts, 4 restaurants and supermarkets. Police said Pally Supermarket on Bailey Ave was reportedly broken into overnight on September 15th. The suspect stole around $5,000 in cash, as well as 2 cash register boxes and 2 receipt printers. Between September 20th and 29th, 4 additional burglaries were reported at Gino and Joe's New York Pizza, Domino's, and Buffalo Fresh. Domino's was allegedly broken into once on September 23rd and again 6 days later. Richard Bowden of Buffalo was apprehended October 3rd. Multiple empty cash registers were recovered. He's charged with 5 counts of third-degree burglary, third-degree grand larceny, 4 counts of third-degree criminal mischief, fourth-degree grand larceny, fourth-degree criminal mischief, 3 counts petty larceny. Investigation remains ongoing. More charges could be forthcoming. So there's that. Those don't seem like the best places to rob. I'm not suggesting. I don't want to get into this. It's just supermarket and like a Domino's. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. But they got their man. I'm debating whether I care enough about this. Probably AI-generated article ripping the Bills as if they were 2-13 right now, as opposed to 4-2. Like, there are clearly some imperfections on the team. But good God, everything wrong with the Bills and why heads need to roll. And like, I started reading it, and it's junk. It's the whiner line. It's a bad call to GR is what it is. Except it's written out and it's got sporting news on it, and they claim this is a real person. He's a freelance NFL writer for the Sporting News. He previously wrote for USA Today Sports Media Group, the 33rd Team, and Pro Football Network. Enjoyer of chocolate milk, metal music, Batman, pasta salad, and pro wrestling. Jarrett Bailey, are you a real person? I feel like if you were a real person, I can click this. Is there a picture of this person? Does it let me do anything? All right, just a guy with a dumb hat and a dumb mustache. I'm gonna make the executive decision to not read this thing because I don't think it's legit. I think it's just negative and mopey, and I don't want to share it. So I'm skipping right past that. I'm skipping this Charlie Kirk story. I don't feel like doing Charlie Kirk today. What is this one? Oh, Urban Meyer suggests Penn State already knows who is replacing James Franklin. Okay. Franklin fired over the weekend. And who does Urban Meyer think? Urban Meyer. Come on, give me a name here. The latest edition of the Triple Option podcast. Urban Meyer suggested Penn State already knew. Oh, don't do this to me. There we go. Already knew who they'd be hiring upon making the decision to part ways with Franklin. Meyer coached at Ohio State from 2012 to 2018. Is 4-1 against Franklin's Nittany Lions. Said, when this happens, I've been through it on the other end. When you fire a guy at Virginia Tech, Arkansas, UCLA to a degree, they hire a search firm, and they go out behind the scenes and talk to some candidates. They then put together a list and give it back to the athletic director / president of the search committee. The reason they do that is because with those type of schools, you have to go out and search who's interested because those aren't top 5 or top 10 jobs. Penn State is a whole different animal. In that way, the head coach at the other school can say he hasn't really spoken to anyone, and the AD can say, I've never talked to that coach because he hasn't. It's all through third-party stuff. They get the list together and go start recruiting or whatever, and when that's done, at Penn State, I think it's a whole different story. Whole different animal, excuse me. When you fire a coach, when his record was 104-45 and was in the Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, and a score away from playing for a national championship, and 16 days ago, he could have had the possible number 1 team in the country. I don't think you make that move with a $75 million expense coming unless you know who you're going to hire. The Nittany Lions opened the season ranked number 2 in the country and won their first 3 games. Set up a top 6 whiteout matchup between Penn State and Oregon in Happy Valley 3 weeks ago. And Nittany Lions lost that in overtime. This spiraled into losses to previously 0-4 UCLA and Northwestern, which turned into Franklin's firing. The candidates mentioned here are Matt Rule from Nebraska, Kurt Cignetti from Indiana, Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, Matt Campbell from Iowa State, Vanderbilt's Clark Lee, Mizzou's Eli Drinkwitz, and Duke's Manny Diaz, all floated as potential candidates for the opening. There's no actual answer there, so I fell for it again. I clicked on a thing that wasn't the thing at all. Like, what is the name that Urban Meyer thinks is the guy? And he doesn't say it. I don't know. Yeah, I heard all those names before, too. There's another story on him. This is Todd McShay on the James Franklin firing. Todd McShay, NFL draft analyst, went scorched earth on James Franklin. Following his firing at Penn State, the former coach will be paid, as of now, a near $49 million buyout, while the Nittany Lions search for what's next. A long-time and accomplished coach, Franklin could certainly rub people the wrong way, as could anyone who is highly competitive in a big spot, but McShay seemed to be set off by Franklin for some reason. He told Outkick's Dan Dockich he was glad Penn State made the move to fire Franklin. You can see the rant for yourself. I don't want to see the rant for myself. I'll read it. Got the words here. I can just read the words. So, well, I'm thrilled that Penn State made the decision it did. Image, selfishness, agenda, eventually that kind of leadership rears its ugly head. I think James Franklin got away with it for entirely too long. I think it was, unfortunately with some coaches, it's all about them. It's unclear the source of McShay's beef with Franklin or vice versa, if there is one. McShay had an intriguing comment when picking last year's college football playoff semifinal between Notre Dame and Penn State. The Fighting Irish won, denying Franklin his first national title game appearance. And now my screen is frozen, so I can't read you the last part. Oh, there it is. Notre Dame, there are a couple of biases I'm willing to admit. I don't trust James Franklin. And for those saying you just hate James Franklin, you hate Penn State, nah, this is business. And with business, you make business decisions. So, yeah, he doesn't like James Franklin, who's out. See, I like James Franklin in part because he looks like the lead singer of The Watchmen, Danny Greaves, in part because he looks like my friend Jimmy Keenan, and in part because he was really nice to Scott Wilson when Scott was down there. We were playing at Penn State. Scott was the sideline reporter at the time and was just walking around testing the microphone way before the game. And James Franklin just came up to him and welcomed him to Penn State. And I just thought it was super cool because I was way up in the booth and Scott's down on the field. And I'm just listening to James Franklin, who came up to Scott. And I was like, I like this guy. It's little things in life that make you like or dislike somebody. My overall opinion of James Franklin is a positive one because he was nice to my friend. That's not the best way to judge character or the best way to know if somebody's a good coach. But it's truth, man. Am I supposed to pretend that doesn't have an impact? Like the first time I've ever heard the man speak, he's talking to my friend and being really nice to him. So I liked him. And I feel like I would like Todd McShay too. But Todd McShay doesn't have to like James Franklin. And James Franklin, it doesn't matter. He's out. He's getting paid. He'll be fine. Program will be fine. Everything's fine. We move on. I'm in this spot where I have so much stuff open on my 10-year-old computer that it's taking time in between stories just to get them to open on my screen. Not good. This is a good day for a reset of the entire computer once we hit noon. Blue Jays dugout was mad Vladimir Guerrero didn't push for the cycle in Game 3. He was a triple shy of the cycle, and his teammates are bummed he missed out. It would have been the second cycle in Major League Baseball postseason history. I didn't become aware of it until I think the 8th inning. He was up. Or maybe it was the 7th. I think it was the 8th. And they started talking about how close he was to it. In Game 3 of the ALCS against the Mariners, Toronto's offense broke out when it was needed the most, partly in thanks to a 4-hit night from Guerrero. He had a 406-foot home run to center field in the 5th, which moved him just a triple shy of the cycle with plenty of game left. Just a triple, though, man. Triples are tough. And he's not a small man. He's fast for his size, but that's not... When I see Vlad Guerrero, I'm not thinking, oh, this guy's probably going to hit a triple right now. Well, let me see how often Vlad Guerrero hits triples. Vlad Jr. reference. Because all I need is a triple. I hear this out of kids all the time. Like, I've got a home run and a double. All I need is a single and a triple. How are you getting a triple? Especially in Little League. Those triples, they can all be home runs. If you can get to third, you can get home. So they'll always talk like that. It's like, I mean, what would you rather have? The cycle is cool, but would you rather have a single, a double, and 2 home runs? Or a single, double, triple, and home run? I think I'd rather have the 2 home runs. So how are you ever going to settle on the triple? All right. In his career, he has 6 triples in 7 years. So that's all he was 1 triple away. Except he's only hit 6 in 7 years. So let's chill. Let's chill a little on all he needed was a triple. He's made 4,220 plate appearances. He's got 6 triples. And all he needed was one of them to happen. He averages 1 a season. A little less than 1 a season, really. 7 years, 6 triples. So all he needed was a triple. All he needed was a thing he never does. He had a great game. But really, are the Blue Jays mad? Or was that another lying headline? Blue Jays dugout was so mad. All right. He was intentionally walked in the 6th. Saw an opportunity in the 8th to achieve the rare feat. Poked an 83-mile-an-hour curveball in the middle of the zone to right field gap and dug for extra bases. He rounded first and booked it for second, but stopped on second instead of pushing for the triple, which would have completed the cycle. He appeared to take too big of a step as he rounded first, which put him a bit off balance and may have halted his opportunity for a triple. Once he stood up on second, he knew he missed an opportunity, but was happy with another extra base hit. The Fox broadcast perfectly panned to some of his Blue Jays teammates in the dugout, who looked disappointed that the cycle didn't come to fruition. As the hardest part of the cycle, you can't fault Guerrero for not reaching third on the play, but his 8th inning hit may have been the best opportunity possible. Yeah, sure. But also, he was safe at second and not out at third, like he probably would have been. So nobody's actually mad. Just like, once again, that's a story that I read because of a lying headline. It's written by either an AI person or an 11-year-old named Blake Silverman. He joined SI in November 2024. He covered the WNBA, the NBA, G League, and college basketball for numerous sites. But he looks like a 12-year-old kid. And the headline is, I'm going to read it again. Blue Jays dugout was so mad Vladimir Guerrero Jr. didn't push for the cycle in Game 3. And the reality is there were 2 guys in the dugout making a face like, oh, you could have maybe had 3. That's the story. That's the headline. I fell for it. I read it. I opened to any of these stories. They seem like they're going to be interesting. I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to help people. I'm like coaching you through so you don't fall for this stuff. Get sidetracked by stories that are not stories. That's not a story. All right, what's this say on the New York Post? What's this New York Post story? I can't get this to close now? Oh, come on. Are you Ozempic sober? GLP-1s are making users feel less drunk. I'm going to go back to that one. I'm interested in that story. Diane Keaton died. I don't know that I know I've seen her in things. She's in Annie Hall. I've never seen Annie Hall. I feel like I should see Annie Hall. But 2 classic Keaton movies, Annie Hall and Something's Gotta Give, begin showing at select theaters October 17th to commemorate her death at age 79 on October 11th. The 1977 classic Annie Hall, directed by Woody Allen, who also starred in the film, scored Keaton an Oscar for Best Actress in a Leading Role. The film tells the story of Alvy, played by Allen, a comedy writer who tries to decipher his failed relationship with his ex, Annie, who is the title character. In addition to Keaton's Best Actress award, the film also earned awards for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. I don't know that I've ever seen a Woody Allen movie. Or maybe Sleeper? I saw Sleeper in like a film class or something. I think that's the only Woody Allen movie I've seen. Nothing against Woody Allen. I don't know that I like or dislike him. I've never tried. That's weird, right? Keaton's 2003 rom-com classic, Something's Gotta Give, starred her with Nicholson, Keanu Reeves, Amanda Peet, Frances McDormand, Paul Michael Glaser, Jon Favreau, and Katie Strickland. In the film, Keaton plays Erica Berry, a playwright in the Hamptons, while Nicholson plays Harry Sanborn, a wealthy New York City record company owner. Despite clashing personalities, the 2 find themselves forced together and eventually begin to develop feelings for one another. Okay. She was nominated for an Academy Award for that one, too. She was in Father of the Bride. Okay. First Wives Club? No. Baby Boom? No. Oh, she's in the Godfather movies. And she was in Sleeper. I got that one. I saw that. Play It Again, Sam, and Sleeper. Other collaborations with Woody Allen. All right, moving on from Diane Keaton. She'll be missed. I don't know. She doesn't play a very important role in my life as an actress. But I don't dislike her. She seemed nice. She seemed pleasant. She seemed good. Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater find the heartbreak in Blue Moon. All right. I want to be in on everything Richard Linklater does. And I kind of want to be in on everything Ethan Hawke does. But also, Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater worked together for 10 years on Boyhood, which I hated. So I'll try again. I didn't want to not like Boyhood. I wanted to love Boyhood. I couldn't. I just thought it was slow, dull. Before Rodgers and Hammerstein earned praise as the greatest musical theater duo of the 20th century, there was Rodgers and Hart. Dick Rodgers composed, and Lorenz Hart wrote the lyrics to around 1,000 songs, including My Funny Valentine and Blue Moon, which lends its name to Richard Linklater's new film about Hart. Lorenz Hart. Ethan Hawke, who's appeared in several Linklater films, stars as the man consumed by regret, who spirals into bitter monologues on the opening night of Oklahoma. Rodgers teamed up for the first time with Oscar Hammerstein, snubbing Hart on that 1943 musical, which became a runaway success. Linklater told Morning Edition, "It was this little howl into the night of an artist being left behind. It was sad and beautiful and witty and irreverent, and what a character. For over a decade, we just kind of kept working on it, and eventually its time had come." Blue Moon unfolds almost entirely inside of the Broadway staple Sardi's, where Hart, simply known as Larry in the film, drinks at the nearly empty bar and waxes lyrical about his work, artists he's met, and an impending sense of doom. The scene is moody and unravels like a carefully scripted play, where Hart appears to be both aware of his greatness and on the brink of collapse. Linklater, quote, "You see breakup movies, but you don't see a lot of artistic breakup movies, which to me are more fascinating." Pointing to the affection Rodgers and Hart had for one another as dedicated professional partners, the breakup over the latter's alcoholism and unreliability was thus all the more frustrating. In one scene, Rodgers says he had to write some of the lyrics to the musical By Jupiter himself. As a result, Andrew Scott earned a Silver Bear at the Berlin International Film Festival for his portrayal of Rodgers. Not a Silver Bear. I've never heard of a Silver Bear. I acted like it was a big deal to win a Silver Bear. I don't know what a Silver Bear is. Sorry. What is this? No. Close that. I'm going to play another song. Play a song, quick break, back to take you till noon. Just going through all the stuff. I've got a lot of stuff. There's still 14 tabs open on this screen, so we're just working our way through it. It's all the stuff that's been accumulated over the week that I've not gotten to. It's kind of a cleaning out the folder type of situation, but definitely need a reboot of the computer after today's show, so we need all this stuff off the screen, or I'm never going to get to it. Because it's just going to lock up and freeze. Like, I'm just trying to make it all happen. Do we like the hip right now? All right, I'm going to 80s mellow again. Want to hear Always by Atlantic Star? I do. Let's go. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com. Writer Radio episode 189 continues. It is October 16th, 2025. We've got this show and then one more for the week, which will take place tomorrow, despite it being a travel day, because the UB Bulls are in action in Massachusetts on Saturday, but I don't have to go till 1. I have to be at the airport at 1. Which means the show will go as normal. I'll just finish it up and head to the airport. So that's cool. Travel will get in the way occasionally of a show airing live, but this will not be the case tomorrow. So regular show tomorrow as we wrap up the week. Also look probably later today or maybe early tomorrow for the brand new UB football podcast, which will be recorded by Scott Wilson and me at, I think, about 1 o'clock today. Then we'll get it over to UB, and then it'll get posted there. So UB Bulls Insider is what you're looking for, and then we're the UB Football Podcast contained within that. You definitely want to check it out. It's as good as it gets for, like, I don't expect everyone in Western New York to know the UB Bulls the way that Scott Wilson knows the UB Bulls. And what we do is we spend half an hour or 40 minutes or so just breaking down the team. And, like, it's a really good, like, Cliff's Notes type study guide for if you would like to jump in with us. They're 3-3. They've got a real good chance of winning this weekend. They've got a real good chance of going to a bowl game. They've got a real good chance of playing for the championship in Detroit. They're 2-0 in the conference. And they're playing a team that is 0-6 this Saturday. So now's a good time to jump in. And we did a podcast last week leading into the bye. So we talked a bit about what went on in the previous game against Eastern. But we did not yet touch on UMass. So today we'll do a little recap of like what else happened in college football over the last week or so. And then dive right into UB against UMass. It's a perfect, like the pregame show is good. We do a live pregame show also. But as far as actual breakdown of what's going on, the pregame show is so fast moving, so many interviews, so much stuff going on that I feel like we don't get in all of the information that we do in the podcast. So that's the podcast is a very good supplement for that. And if you're like, hey, I'm curious about UB football, check it out. That'll be available online either today, this afternoon, or early tomorrow morning, I would think. And there'll be a preview of that game, and then we'll do a regular show tomorrow. And then the pregame show is actually, I think the game is at 2:30. Pregame will be at 1:30 on the Bet 1520 and on the Varsity Network app. So please check us out. All right, I just came across a thing here on X. I'm going to try just calling it X. What do you think? I still think of it as Twitter, but then it's like, I thought I was a smart guy. Like, I'm never going to type X.com. I'm going to type Twitter.com. That'll show them. What's that do? It still takes you to the same place, and it's way more letters. X.com's easier. It's better. We still think of it as Twitter. Anyway, there's this account called Super 70s Sports, which is great. They just find good stuff, good pictures and videos and just fun things from back when athletes all had mustaches and long hair and whatever. So this is the tweet says, it's still a tweet. It's a tweet on X now, right? What if Bobby Knight made a golf tutorial about how to play out of the sand traps and we got to see the outtakes? Well, he did, and we can, and it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect, which means you should definitely watch this. This is a trusted source of information right here. I believe in this guy. I forget what his name is, but he's cool. Ricky something? Ricky Bell? Or is it the guy from Belle Biv DeVoe? Well, anyway, Ricky is cool. Ricky did the intro to our fantasy football draft last year via Cameo, and he was awesome, making fun of all of our team names and stuff. He was great. I have not watched or listened to this, but it's 57 seconds of outtakes from Bobby Knight, best known as the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, hitting balls out of a sand trap, but it's outtakes from this video. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I bet he swears. I bet you're going to hear some vulgarity. Let's do it together. Let's check it out together. That's how it works.
No, that's horse shit. We can't use that one.
There, that's okay. Need to get a little more weight to the left.
That was a shitty fucking shot. That's what that was. This could take us till late the fucking afternoon to get this done. I'm not going to do this. Right here. Distance. Just like that, motherfucker. Roll back down here.
At this one now.
When we hit
Put a swing on the sun.
When we hit toward the pin, Sam, I know I've got to have
more of a swing.
A little bit stronger swing. Just like that, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Fucking mighty with that cocksucking fucking bullshit.
He just threw the club.
Jesus Christ. Fucking mighty with that cocksucking fucking bullshit.
It's starting over. We'll do it one more time. That was fun.
No, that's horse shit. We can't use that one.
There, that's okay. Need to get a little more weight to the left.
That was a shitty fucking shot. That's what that was. This could take us till late the fucking afternoon to get this done. I'm not going to do this. Right here. Distance. Just like that, motherfucker. Roll back down here.
At this one now.
When we hit
Put a swing on the sun.
When we hit toward the pin,
seems
Sam,
like a fun
I know
guy.
I've got to have
more of a swing.
A little bit stronger swing. Just like that, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Fucking mighty with that cocksucking fucking bullshit. Jesus Christ. Fucking mighty with that cocksucking fucking bullshit.
Like, if you hadn't... Okay, so if you didn't know who Bobby Knight was at all, except he's the guy who threw a chair once. And you would think, from the number of times that I've seen him throw a chair, one might think that that was his thing. Like, he threw chairs all the time. He didn't throw chairs all the time. He threw a chair once. But if you only knew him as the guy who threw a chair, and then you stumbled across this video and watched how he throws a golf club, you'd be like, I think that's the guy that threw the chair. Somehow the motion with which he throws, it's like, you can tell it's Josh Allen throwing a pass, right? You can tell it's Michael Vick throwing a pass, Lamar Jackson throwing a pass, Dan Marino throwing a pass. You can tell, you just know the motion. I can tell which of the kids on the Little League team it is that threw the ball. You know, there's a play made in the outfield, and just from the way he approaches the ball and then gets the ball in, I know who it was because I've watched these kids play enough that I know their motion. I've literally seen Bob Knight throw a chair and a golf club, and it is 100% the same dude. Like, if you didn't know anything else about it, it's like I recognize the way that guy whips metal objects out of anger during sporting events. I recognize it. It's the same throw, except it's a golf club instead of a chair, which is fun. All right, that was fun. All right, turning that off. Close that thing. Vlad Jr., we already did. Are you Ozempic sober? I do want to read, are you Ozempic sober? I listened to a whole podcast about those drugs, the Ozempic type of drugs, and like the magic that is happening with these things. They're like, yeah, well, we do it first to help with, it was diabetes first. And then I was like, but it really helped with weight loss, and it does this, and it repairs your intestinal lining, and it prevents COPD. And it's like, there's a million different things. And they're still figuring out what the hell's going on. But like the conversation I heard, which was on I think a very trustworthy podcast called Simple English. It's on The Ringer. It's hosted by Derek Thompson, and there's a different topic every time, and he just digs into it. And the whole point is, like, I bet you'd like to understand this, but let's try to get it into simple English so you can. It's like a dumbed-down Cliff's Notes thing, and it's good. That's the second reference to Cliff's Notes that I've made in the show in the last, 15 minutes. So this is not me clicking on just a random thing. This is me having been informed by a podcast, knowing that there is something to this GLP-1 drug thing. And I would recommend listening to that. There's no way I'm going to accurately depict what was said in that podcast. It's probably 45 minutes long, and it was all stuff I didn't know. But it was awesome. Really, really good episode of Simple English. I could look for it and find exactly when it was, but you'll figure it out. Just go look for Simple English. You should follow that. It's a better show than this one. You should listen to that one instead. I mean, listen to mine too. But it's a good show. Very informative. So then I come across this article from yesterday. Are you Ozempic sober? ? GLPs are making users feel less drunk. It's like these drugs are doing these magical things. All right, slimmer waist, weaker buzz. A new study suggests GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, commonly used for diabetes and weight loss, may also blunt the effects of alcohol. That might be bad news for casual drinkers, but scientists at Virginia Tech's Fralin Biomedical Research Institute said it could open the door to a promising new tool for people battling the bottle. Go on. Using a drug that's already shown to be safe to help people reduce drinking could be a way to get people help fast, says a doctor. Study co-author and interim co-director of the FBRI's Center for Health Behaviors Research. His name is Alex DiFelice-Antonio. That's one word, the last name. D-I Felice Antonio. It's all one thing. It's a lot of letters. If he played football, it would look like Roethlisberger. You know, where it goes from like elbow to elbow, because they can't fit all the letters, or they have to use like really tiny letters. DeFelice Antonio. It's fun. Across the U.S., roughly 1 in 10 adults struggle with alcohol use disorder, a medical condition that makes quitting feel nearly impossible, even when it damages relationships, jobs, and health. Long-term heavy drinking can increase the risk of serious medical problems, including high blood pressure, heart and liver disease, stroke, and weakened immune system. It's also the third leading preventable cause of cancer, behind tobacco use and obesity. For the study, DeFelice Antonio and her colleagues. Oh, it's a woman. I didn't get that out of the name. Oh, it's Alex. Okay. Alex can be either one. For the study, DeFelice Antonio and her colleagues recruited 20 obese participants in Virginia, half of whom were already taking maintenance doses of GLP-1 drugs. Those medications mimic the body's natural GLP-1 hormone, which regulates blood. Come on. You can do this, Brad. Which regulates blood. Why? Why am I tripping over blood sugar? Regulates blood sugar, digestion, and appetite, helping people feel full longer and eat less. On test day, participants fasted before eating a snack bar to keep their calories and stomach contents consistent. Researchers checked their vitals, including blood glucose and breath alcohol levels, before handing them an alcoholic drink that had to be finished within 10 minutes. Afterward, they checked vitals 3 more times over the course of an hour and asked participants about their cravings, appetite, and effects of the alcohol. Those on GLP-1s consistently reported feeling less intoxicated. And while everyone drank enough to reach a 0.08% blood alcohol concentration, the rise was slower in the medicated group. Magic drugs, man. Magic. The researchers said the slower increase may also delay the speed at which alcohol hits the brain, thereby dulling the buzz. Here's a quote. Why would this matter? Faster acting drugs have a higher abuse potential. If GLP-1s slow alcohol entering the bloodstream, they could reduce the effects of alcohol and help people drink less. The study was small, but researchers said the results are strong enough to warrant bigger trials testing these drugs as a tool to help people cut back on their alcohol intake. This isn't the first time GLP-1s have delivered perks beyond the scale. All right, here's where it gets interesting. Users of Ozempic and similar medications have reported fewer cravings for nicotine, opioids, and even impulse shopping. Last year, a study found that opioid users taking GLP-1s had a 40% lower rate of overdoses compared to those not taking the medications. In another trial, researchers discovered that alcoholics treated with GLP-1s were less likely to be hospitalized for alcohol-related issues, with the medications outperforming the leading drugs used to address alcoholism. Scientists believe the effect may be linked to how GLP-1s influence dopamine levels in the brain. These drugs, interact with the mesolimbic system, a key reward center involved in addictive behavior. There's a quote from a lead researcher, says, I see so many patients who do not have good outcomes on the medications we have and who are desperate for help with their addiction. We really do need more tools in the toolbox. And that's where the story ends. But it's really interesting. I recommend finding that episode of Plain English. Is it Plain English or Simple English? I should look this up. It's highly recommended, and I'm going to find the exact name of it so that you can hear it too, because you should hear it. It's just crazy. All of the accidental successes that they're having with this stuff. Now, it's fairly new, so who knows how many bad things could come out. Here it is. It's a month ago. If GLP-1 drugs are good for everyone, should we all be on them? Or good for everything, should we all be on them? Plain English, Derek Thompson, September 16th, 2025. So exactly a month ago. Highly recommend you check that out. It is 55 minutes long, something like that. Oh, no, it's episode 55. And it's 56 minutes long. So I recommend that. All right. Grey's Anatomy reaches its 450th episode. Do you know anyone who's seen all 450? Because I live with someone who's seen all 450. I make this joke all the time, but it happens a lot. I will walk into a room where my wife is asleep. Might be the family room, might be the living room, might be the bedroom. And she is asleep and has fallen asleep watching Grey's Anatomy. Not necessarily a new one. She watches Grey's Anatomy like other people watch Seinfeld. Like, no, I'll just pick any episode. It's fine. It's been on for 450 episodes, and she'll just watch any of them at any time. But what happens when you do that on Netflix is it'll let you watch like 3 in a row, but if you fell asleep, a thing will just pop up on the screen that says, are you still watching Grey's Anatomy? And it's always funny to me because what they mean is, would you like me to turn off the TV right now? Are you still paying attention? But I read it as, It's been on for 450 episodes. You're still watching Grey's Anatomy? And the answer is yes. She is still watching Grey's Anatomy. New episode tonight. Season 1,000,000, episode 2. Drops tonight. That's an event in my house. A new episode of Grey's Anatomy is an event. The Dodgers are playing too, though, so that could be a problem. I don't know what she's going to do. She's very hooked on Dodgers baseball, but also Grey's Anatomy for 450 episodes. So something's got to give. Let's see what's going on with Dodgers. I assume we've got a probably about an 8 o'clock game tonight. Let's see. MLB schedule. 6:08. Okay, that'll probably work. 6:08 for the Dodgers. Brewers at Dodgers. 6:08. And then 8:33 for Toronto at Seattle. So we've got both games tonight. Undecided versus Tyler Glasnow. So we don't know who's pitching for Milwaukee. And then it's Scherzer and Castillo in the AL games. So that's fun. A lot of close-ups of Max Scherzer last night. Just kind of waiting for him to come out and make this thing 2-2, perhaps. I don't know who I'm rooting for. I like all these teams. I'm good with all of them. They're all interesting. They're all fun. There's nothing I hate. The colors are good. Cities are good. I mean, LA is not my favorite city, but I like that team. I remember really rooting against the Blue Jays when they were in the World Series, and I was hyper-focused on Land of the Free, Home of the Braves. This is when I was in college. That was the 92 series, and then 93 obviously was Toronto over Philly, the Mitch Williams thing. Sorry, John Fuller. But I remember rooting against them because they were Canada. But now they're the Bison's affiliate, or the Bisons are their affiliate, however you want to put it. And we're actually seeing, Vlad Guerrero played here. And he's the star, and he was a Bison in 18? I remember going to see him and getting real good seats and taking pictures of him in the on-deck circle and thinking, I don't know about the shape of this guy, but it's cool that he's the kid of a Hall of Famer. I don't know if Vlad Sr. was in the Hall of Fame yet, but you know what I mean. A really good player for a while that I enjoyed watching, and then his kid's there, and he's playing for the Bisons, and now he's a star in the ALCS, and he was great last night. So I'm rooting for them, but the fact that Seattle's never even been to a freaking World Series, they've been playing forever, I'm kind of rooting for them too. Milwaukee, I've been to a game there. That was fun. It was Miller Park. Now it's Great American Family Park or something, but same place. I can get behind all of these things. Toronto, fine. Seattle, fine. Milwaukee, fine. And I like the Dodgers. So, 2 games tonight. Cool. Do we have games tonight? What day is today? Today's Thursday. It feels like there's going to be a practice or something, but I don't think there is. I think we're clear. When I say there's a lot of baseball, I mean there's a lot of baseball, man. It's October, and we just booked there's a doubleheader. I'm going to UMass for a football game, and then when I get back, I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to go to 2 baseball games. It was only 1 until last night, and then all of a sudden it was 2. All right, fine. That's what we do. We just go to baseball games. The show, as always, presented today by Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. Thank you to Brian and to the Financial Guys. Brian is a 20-year-plus veteran as an independent insurance broker, and it costs nothing for you to chat with him to solve your problems insurance-wise, especially if you're approaching 65. He will help you transition into the Medicare portion of your life. Brian Janik, thefinancialguys.com. Check him out. He'll hook you up. Good dude and a proud sponsor of Writer Radio. That's it for today. We've got another show tomorrow. As I've mentioned, it is a travel day, but I don't have to be at the airport till 1, so we'll do a regular show, 10 to noon. Scott Wilson will join me. Scott Wilson will also join me very soon to record the UB Football Podcast, and that'll be available online either later today or first thing tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, depending on when we get it over there and when they can get it posted. But expect either it'll be there at 5 o'clock today or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning is my guess, because that's usually how it goes once we record, which we're going to do after I shut this off, edit it down, post it as a podcast. Then we'll record another thing with Scott, then we'll post that. All right? That's what we're doing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of it. Thanks for sharing, subscribing, liking. What's the other thing? Commenting, rating, reviewing. Mostly subscribe, but all the other stuff helps too. So thank you all. I'll be back with you tomorrow at 10 for episode 190. Wow, 190 of Writer Radio.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?